Yes, Tundra and I have been together since she was a 3-week-old pup.
And how did you acquire her?
Well, you get her from breeders, and she's just a very, very high content wolf dog. She's got 90% wolf, but you see that, in fact, she looks all wolf, and her anatomy is all wolf. Yeah.
And Tundra has her own website?
Yes, we have a society called the Tundra Speak Society, and the website is tundraspeaks.com. Well, I do wolf education, so we have the Swell Wolf Education Center as part of the society, and I've been taking Tundra into the schools and community groups now for almost 14 years, and so we visited in BC well over 300 schools and seeing about 40,000 students and teachers, educating them about wolves. And the main topics we look at is the ecological value of wolves, why they're so important in the ecosystem. And then I do a lot of work with First Nations people and their connection to the wolf, which is very strong and sacred. And as a result, they've taught me a lot about the wolf through their legends and stories. And so that's what we share with our audiences. We also do community groups, such as different environmental groups, or even business groups that we've done. Some of the like the Rotary Club, Probus, which I think is the Professional Business Association. So whoever wants to learn about wolves gets in touch with us, and Tundra and I travel.
That's through your website?
Sorry?
Through your website is how?
Yes, so a lot of the people, through the website, or if they know our email address and that, which is also on the website. Yeah.
And what kind of wolf is she?
Well, she'd be gray wolf. Okay. A lot of people, say, well, is she a timber wolf? And timber wolves are really the common man's name for wolves because they live in the forest. And but the biological name is gray wolf, Canis lupus. It's not the color, which is a bit confusing. It's because the Arctic wolf is a subspecies of the gray wolf, and it's all white. So, so she's gray wolf. That's the largest and the most dominant wolf species in North America.
Where are they native to mostly? All of Canada?
All of North America. Their original territory was, from the Arctic all the way down into Mexico, even past Mexico City. Before there was when it was just the indigenous people living in North America. And of course, their territory is greatly being reduced because of the settling of people into North America. Wolves don't want to have contact with people, so they really keep to themselves in that. So one of the things that I talk about is if you look at the wolf and you look at the First Nations, they have lost a lot of their traditional territory, both groups, and that.
Right. Now, does she have any siblings? Is this the only wolf you have? Or?
Yeah, at the present time, she's the only one I have. And then when I had previous ones, Tundra was the only one that I took into the school because, most wolves do not want to have any contact with humans. So the other ones, I could never get a leash on them. I couldn't get them into the van and get them to to travel with me. They just, that's not something that a wolf wants to do. So Tundra is very unique in that she will she'll travel. So we stay in motels and that when I'm traveling. So in October we've been over to the Lower Mainland twice, and so we stay in motels. Tundra stays in the motel with us. The chain that we use know Tundra very well, so a lot of times when I'm making the reservation, I mention my name, and they say, "Oh, is Tundra coming with you?"
So is there any special care that she requires compared to a dog?
Yeah, it's quite a bit different than a dog. You can just see here, she's been, wandering around, checking everything out. A dog would just go lay down in the corner. If I told Tundra to go lay down, she's not going to comply with that request. They're very independent thinking, so they do their own thinking. They don't require us to do thinking for them. So, when I talk to people about it, I just say, look, they aren't like dogs. And people ask me questions, and I go, you're thinking like a dog person. So you work with what they give you, and a lot of people find that hard to cope with because they want to control the animal. I mean, that's what we do with dogs, right? We control them. Sit, come, stay. You take them to obedience lessons. You're not going to take Tundra to an obedience lesson. The fact that I can get a leash on her and walk her, and I've been able to do that all her life. And there are places where I can let her be off leash, and we have a number of those videos on our website. So
we'll have to check those out.
Yeah. Wolves are so important in the environment, in the ecology. They're what are referred to as a keystone species. They're a top predator, just like a bear would be and a cougar, but the wolf has such an impact upon the environment, from the animals to the plants to the trees. They have a very special relationship with the trees. The First Nations people have known this for hundreds of years, and so the work that I do is to educate the people about the importance of the wolf and how the First Nations people saw the wolf, and they saw it as their brother. Many creation stories of First Nations people involve the creation of the creation story involves them coming from a wolf. So it's a majestic, beautiful animal, and as we know, completely misunderstood. But people that get to see Tundra, I think, get a glimpse as to how different than they are than a dog, and how important they are. Right. Wolves don't like dogs, so given that Tundra's fairly old and she's seen a number of dogs, right? But what she doesn't want dogs to come up to her and to approach her. Dogs get the behavior from the wolf, so when a wolf is very territorial, it's certainly exponentially greater than a dog being territorial. One of the things I talk about is that the wolf is family. If you can remember one thing about, they're incredibly family oriented, and again, if you look at First Nations people, their family structure is structured after the wolf. Hunt together, they share their food. They help raise their offspring. Whether it's a wolf pup or a child.
You got her as a pup? How old?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Wow.
Yeah, you got to get them at that. I had a bottle feeder for a few days. See, that's when they bond with you. That's when they bond in the wild. They come out of the den at about 3 weeks, and they haven't. The only thing that they've known in the den is their siblings and mom.
Right.
The other wolves they're outside the den, and so they're blind when they're born, and those eyes open up in about 15 days. And on our website, you can see the 2 pups coming out of the den on our property at 17 days old. And then that's when they're going to bond with the other wolves, which the bonding is the trust.
Right.
They're a team that is the strengths of those relationships are incredible. So, I've raised some from 5 weeks, and I raised her from 3 weeks, and it's way easier from 3 weeks. People kind of, because they see it from a dog perspective, right? You don't get a dog to about 8 weeks from a breeder, right? You're finished at 8 weeks because they've already bonded at the breeder. And the two that I raised from 5 weeks, of course, they bonded the breeders, and then you got to get them to rebond with you, and that's very, very difficult. So it's much easier get them at 3 weeks, the difference at the 2 weeks is 40% of their life at that point in time. It's a huge factor. She's never shown any aggression towards any of the 40,000 students or whatever. What I get the students to do is I get them quieter than their teacher can. I just say, if we're doing it in a gym, like in a room like this, I'm not coming in until I can hear a mouse breathe. But now what I do is I do walks in the forest with her. And so all of it's outdoor education, which is what Aboriginal education is, right? We get to see what she's doing, and I get them to observe her and tell me what she's doing, and then the importance of it, and what a wolf in the wild would do. And then we talk a lot about First Nations concepts and stories and legends of the wolves, and then they get to ask a whole bunch of questions.